agenda 1.8 new websites. Let me grab a bunch of them. Websites. Okay. Any demo today? Anyone? Sipke, demo? No.
Yeah, I was a legal demo.
Zoltan has a demo.
Yeah.
Sipke is working on something, but he's not allowed to show it. And maybe he's working on something else and he doesn't want to show it.
No demos today. Next time.
Blah 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 blah. Oh, who else? I forget something last week. It's probable. Do I have a demo? I don't think so. I will check on my log what I did.
Can I ask what's going on with the deployment, with the stuff where you can deploy between environments, where you can say, I've got a piece of content and I want to push that out to another instance?
Yes, we talked about it, you were not there. So this is not in the schedule for 1.8 because we are focusing on delivering the binary upgrades like 4.5 framework, MVC5 and so on. But it would, if we find someone to help on the development to do it. So for instance, Sipke did the list thing. He also did the messaging thing. I have another module I have designed, like the audit tray. I'm still looking for someone to do it. If not, I will do it myself. And so the deployment, also the design is done. We are looking for someone to do it. And actually, that triggers a discussion we could have today. So maybe not one company is so much interested into this model to finance everything for it, but we could imagine that we would pay someone to do that, and lots of company giving like $1, and in the end we have the module for $1, okay, open source. So that could be interesting to see if there are some people interested into financing some part of the development, if those companies want the module enough to be part of it. I might have an idea if a company could spend $10 on it, or $1 Bitcoin. And that's much more than $10 actually. But yeah, if it's a way to get some modules done more quickly, and I'm not paid for that, okay? If I spend some time on the module, I'm not paid for the module. I'm paid by Microsoft to work on it, okay? So I could help at least by driving the project. And I don't know, if some companies are really interested into this module, that could be a good way to make it progress faster. Because I know you guys, you can work on it for free, like Sipke is doing for lots of modules. But if it can be some paid time, this will progress much faster. I'm not sure we will have to handle any administrative things here. It's just like the consultant will, okay, we will agree with the companies how much can the consultant spend on that, and it will be like, okay, let's build the different companies differently. So unless Eric thinks that could be a good way to start something like this, maybe Eric could help somehow. I don't know.
I can try.
You see what I mean?
Outer Curve can handle like donations and stuff like that, and the project can designate how the donations are spent, as long as it's not like some absurd thing. And something like this would not be. So I mean, we could just designate that, you know, this money is going to pay for this module, and then the project decides who that person is that should do it and how that should be spent.
Yeah, I think that could be interesting. Yeah. So if you guys want to participate into it, just send me an email, and I will try to organize it Yeah. Or if you know some companies who would be interested into participating, that would be interesting. So because I know you all are almost consultants or working on Orchard, and you work for a company which is invested in Orchard, or you have customer who might want this module, and if you say, oh, just participate like $500, and if we have 10 companies, it's done in 1 week, boom. Yeah, that might be interesting, just to share the cost of a module. It will still be open source, okay? Yeah. So just, yeah, because the question was asked, I answered. But if someone wants to make it for free, it's okay too, okay? That's how we do modules today.
I have one other question.
Okay.
Regarding exposing Orchard's content manager via Web API. Did anyone bring that up with the recent developments of Web API?
Did you see what I did?
No.
Where were you, dude?
I've been away for a month, so.
Oh, you didn't see that. So
if there's a video, then I'll watch it. So
I think there's a video. Oh, no, no, this video. You can ask Benedek about this video, actually. So he recorded it, but it failed when he saved the file. So there is no video of this meeting, this exact meeting when I showed the feature. I think that was it. No. I think this video exists. I think the video which failed was for the shift, when I explained the shift. And I think it was a different meeting. So maybe there's a video showing the REST API stuff. So what I did is just a REST API module providing some helpers to serialize content items, and also I implemented some endpoints to query the data using the search module, using the projection module, using the contents module, so you can query data using different logics.
Okay, and where's the code for that?
It's on my backup branch on Codeplex. If you look into my forks, there is one fork I call backup, where I push all the stuff I do locally, and it's not in the main repository. So you can. It's based on 1.x because it requires 4.5. Does it require 4.5? No, it doesn't. But I think it's still based on 1.x. I don't. Yeah.
Okay, cool. Thank you very much.
And look at the previous meetings, I showed it. And I also demonstrated a multi-tenant solution. So a portal where you will create different tenants, and you will just have the admin. So it will block the front end for anything, and you could just use the admin and the REST API.
Cool. Content
as a service. That's it.
Cool.
It looks like you lost some weight. Are you okay?
Who, me?
Yeah.
Yeah, I've just been away, so.
Eating rice. Huh?
Eating rice, yeah, just a lot of exercise, so yeah, a lot of work.
Okay, good. Okay. So let's start with the status. So news. So it's not pushed yet. So locally, what I've done is I have merged 1.7.x to master to release 1.7.2. So 1.7.2 is it's ready. I just need to push the change sets because I have fixed all the bugs that were marked for 1.7.2 last week. So if I go back 7 days ago, this one, we are the 12. Yep, so like this one. So data migration manager. So yeah, this was based on a fix that someone provided on Codeplex. This guy found that there were too many recursive calls to the migration things. So if you were about to execute a migration on a feature, it will execute the migration all the dependent features, and so on and so forth. So for instance, the core migration will be checked like hundreds of times if you had a huge set of dependencies. So I fixed that. I did a kind of important performance update here. Two of them actually. I will show you what. So this one, IBlogPathConstraint and AliasUpdater. This was a long time issue that we had. So the IBlogPathConstraint and AliasUpdater was a background task to load all the blog post URLs every minute, just to update an in-memory dictionary of URLs for each blog post. The idea was that when we have a route like this, like archive / a date, like 2012/01, this one, the RSD actually. So the RSD, which one is this? Oh, no, yes, that's true. So if you have a blog, for instance, foo /archive, okay, I think that, or foo /RSD, it will, because we need this to parse and it will contain slashes, we need to define a route constraint for the whole URL in MVC, and which means this thing has to be in the route constraint. So we need a list of all the blogs, URLs in memory. And because blogs can be created on another tenant, there was a background task to load them from the database every minute to update the in-memory cache of this list. And if you had lots of blogs or lots of blog posts, it could be slow and slow your configuration. So I changed it to do a request as necessary on the database. So it will do a query, a SQL query. When it looks for something and it looks like an archive, it will say, okay, if it's an archive, let's check that this thing is really a blog to see if it's really a blog archive. And to do that, it will do a SQL query. So there will be one SQL query only if it makes an archive call. And this way we can remove the every minute SQL query that was sent to the database, and also loading all the blog posts. And same thing for the RSD. So it's no more using the IBlogPathConstraint. So the goal was to remove completely this IBlogPathConstraint, and it works well. And also because we know that a blog has an auto route part. Okay, that was also a constraint we had. So this is improving the performance for database, because the more background task executing this query. And even bigger, same logic, but for the alias. Yep, so same logic, but for the alias. And this one is even more important because this one was doing a query every minute for everything which has another route, okay, technically. So this change has way more impact than the previous one. Then I worked on some perf issues on the multi-tenancy module. So what I noticed is that so I tried to set up 100 tenants. Okay, first I tried with 50. Okay, let's try with 50. So what I saw is that when I created tenants like 001 until 050, okay, and when I was hitting the home page for 001, it was very fast, like there is only one tenant. But when I was hitting this page, the home page for this tenant, it was taking like 1 second to load the home page. And then if I looked at the 025, it was half a second. So it was like the bigger the number I was hitting, the slower it was to render a page. And actually the issue was in the way the shell tenant was resolved based on the URL. It was a badly implemented logic which was very slow, which was doing too much stuff, like a O of n algorithm based on the number of the item you were hitting, because it was doing the test for every previous number before. So it was like looping over the full dictionary instead of having an index of that. So I changed the algorithm, and then it was the same time to hit 001 or 050. So this is what this change is about, and I think I optimized it again right after, because there could have been a memory leak otherwise. The issue was that if you were hitting, so with my change, and which I fixed, it was because it was indexing this value. If you were trying to put UIDs here, okay, and do it like lots of times to do DDoS attack, it will create some entries for all these UIDs that you were hitting. So that could be a memory leak or a DDoS vector. So this was fixed. Then I fixed a new reference exception again with multi-tenants that I found on the cache module, I think. Yes. So it's not related to the fixes I did here for performance improvements, but this is a bug I found when I tried with multi-tenant. This one is a fix from Sipke. Consistifying spaces.
I couldn't help it.
Okay. Then he fixed some JavaScript. Well, I'm sure he improved it. I assume that it's to handle this unsafe URL trick for dynamically added DOM elements.
Exactly. Yeah, that's right.
Then I fixed the multi-tenancy unit test. I improved the logic. So this might be a breaking change. I know for one customer, maybe, for instance, Bertrand, who's using multiple URLs in his domain. So the idea is it's like a new feature, but it was I think it's important. So the idea is that now when you put a tenant in a tenant name inside, a tenant URL inside the tenant settings, it will match it exactly. So if you do a request to example.com, it will only answer to example.com and not foo.example.com. If you want your tenant to answer to any subdomain of example.com, you have to do star.example.com. Okay, this is important for the Perf fix I did to find the exact tenant for any request that you put in. So this is a new feature, but it might break some of the users who are using multi-tenancy in a way that you can, if you are today expecting any subdomain to hit your tenant, you need to add star to it. Okay. Sorry. So this is fixing a bug with taxonomies. When you have multiple fields, taxonomy fields on one content type, they will not update the valid taxonomy field. This one from Stanley. Because we say Disney, why not say Stanley?
Either way is fine. You can say it in French if you like.
Stanley, it's okay. So this one, import-export issue with projection queries. This one to fix. Why is it? Oh, I fixed the fix. Oh, like 3 times. Okay. So this one is to actually not create a draft content item when you submit a custom form. So this is a current bug. This is fixed now. It's no more creating draft content items and keeping them in the database if you don't check the I want to save the value. Fix up the fix and fix up the fix up the fix. Messed up here. Then this one, fixing content picker redirect loop. Submitted on the So there might be in some cases, in case you were using specific localization files which were not complete, it will go into a redirect loop when you open a content picker modal pop-up. This one is to add the menu part to page. I don't know why it disappeared and why there was no title here also. It's back. No reference exception in comments from Zoltan. This one is to show an error message when there was an issue while doing some drag and drop or any AJAX call in the media library. For instance, you are no more authenticated. If you do an AJAX call, it will fail silently. Now it will display a message, which is actually an unexpected error occurred. Please refresh the page and try again. Oh, this one is really interesting. If in the media library you have you create a folder with some international chars, like I can do international chars with my keyboard. So if you have a A with a dot on top of the A, okay, this was the example. This is generating JavaScript, okay? It's opening a single quote, and here, because this thing can contain JavaScript chars to be encoded into a JavaScript string, we are calling HTTP JavaScript string encode. This is what it was doing. Issue is that, so it was encoding it correctly, and it was keeping the international chars. The issue was then this, the at. It would HTML encode also by default the value inside here. So the international char would have been encoded with an ampersand and a semicolon in the end, and then the string would be wrong in JavaScript. So what I had to do was to actually say this thing is a JavaScript string which is encoded as JavaScript, so then don't HTML encode it. So I'm just wrapping it into HTML row. So be careful when you use this JavaScript string encode. You might want to use also HTML row. Okay. Maybe we'll create a helper for that, like HTML.JavaScript and something like this, which will return a HTML string instead. So the at won't encode it again. So that's an issue. Blah blah blah. Oh, thank you. Oh, thank you, Zoltan. He's so clever. So just to use Zoltan's example, if you create a media folder like this, okay, the JavaScript should be the same, but using Alt before that, we'll transform it as and blah blah blah, something like this. And then when it comes back to the server, it says, hey, I don't find any folder with this name. Well, actually, it will say the request is invalid because there is some weird chars inside that, and ASP.NET is blocking it by default. Okay, that was the issue. Going back here, lots of bug fixes. Fixing URL and widget. Okay, so this was a fix from Piotr to fix his change about wrappers. Then I removed the file which was not used. Then removed all changes from Piotr regarding the wrappers as shapes, because his previous fix here was fixing a layout alternate which was not working with URL alternates, and the fix was to change the URL alternates, which means that if we had to fix the URL alternates because of the wrapper as shapes, we will have to fix everything which is creating alternates. This means it's a breaking change, and this means it will break things that we can't even think about. So this feature is been reverted on 1.7x, but Piotr made it on 1.x. So we have time to, so actually we can put breaking changes in 1.x because it's a main release, a major release, and we have time to find out all the issues that will be applied by this thing. And maybe we have time to decide on another kind of implementation of this thing. So it's moved on 1.x, so I reverted all the changes he made. He agreed. You don't have the choice, but he agreed, so it's okay. Fixing some workflow activities to custom. Okay, yeah. So this one was that in the workflow module, sorry, in the roles module had a dependency on orchard workflows. So if you were about to disable the workflows module, it will disable the roles module, which will disable maybe the users module and so on. And you could not use orchard. So what I did is that everything related to workflows in the roles module has its own feature now. So what you will have to do is that if you were using the roles activities, you will have to enable the roles.workflows module, okay, as part of the migration process to 172. Same thing for the comments. If you were using the closed comments activity, you will have to enable the orchard comments activity module, which is the only one in the comments module to have a dependency on workflows. So that disabling workflows will not disable the comments module. Okay, that's just clear. And actually that's right. So how I did it before was wrong. Am I missing any comment? Free choice, yes. That's called a dictatorship. If you agree with me, you have free choice. So this one, improving the SSL module, just adding a new setting, the enable setting, a checkbox, so that when you enable the SSL module, it doesn't kick in by default, because you need some time to configure it to define what is the URL for the SSL setting. So you enable it, then you can, then there is a warning appearing saying you need to configure the SSL setting. And when you have configured it, you can check the enable checkbox in the settings and say now you can work. This one is about yes, improving the settings message. Fixing a bug in the output cache based on redirections. So the redirections were broken in the output cache, so now it's working again. Updating version numbers, so every version number to 172. Merging to master. That Sipke changed some word. Merging to master, so now master will be up to date with 17x, and then I merge back master to 1.x, so that all the changes we've done in 17x are also in 1.x now. Okay. Well, now when I will push it, but right now it doesn't compile, so I won't push it. I need to fix some merge files. So 1.x will be up to date with 17x, master will be 17x. I think I will still reopen 17x just so we can work on bugs without having to move to 1.x. So the idea is that because we will fix bugs which are still valid on 17x, maybe we'll only ship with 1.x, but if we need to do a quick bug fix because people are dependent on that, we can still push it on 17x and people can upgrade to 17x very easily. Okay, it's just bug fixing. And if we just release 1.x first, which is supposed to happen, then we will merge 17x to 1.x. Okay, but there will be a way for current installations to apply bug fixes that we have done without moving to 1.x. Is it clear? Okay, so that's it for the status. So 17x, which means 172 is almost released. I should push it today or tomorrow, okay, and publicly, and then we'll start again on 17x to fix some bugs. But the main development focus will be on 1.x, so 1.8. Good. Questions? Comments?
If the shift goes into 1.8. Right?
Yes, the shift goes into 1.8. It's a separate branch right now, but it will be merged into 1.8. Yeah. So I will also start merging when we can focus on 1.x. I will start merging all these branches, like the shift and the others, into 1.x, and also include the list module and the messaging module and things like that. First as a branch, just to validate they work. And then in 1.x to reason 1.8. And maybe, who knows, if The deployment module is done by then. The deployment module too. Or any user module that can come in time for 1.x. Good. Just as a reminder, there are Hertz. It's not the first time. Documentation. No. Roadmap. Okay, 1.7.2. I will update those to make the release notes and explain what the migration steps are. There should be almost none. If it's just check that the tenants have a start or something, and that's about it. Yeah, and 1.8, just if people don't know what it contains everything. So yeah, this one I still need. Yeah, I need to create some branches for each of the new feature and check if they work with 1.8 because it's on 5. It needs to be upgraded to 4.5. Okay, that's it. Zoltan, demo?
Yeah, sure. I will share my screen now then. Desktop. Okay, so while it's loading slowly, the thing I will present you is, well, a proof of concept. Not yet more, but I hope I will be able to illustrate the idea. It's about a module called Orchard or Lombik.abstractions rather, so Orchard abstractions, and there's also a corresponding example package. So
Bertrand, abstractions again, more abstractions.
Yeah, probably Bertrand doesn't need any abstractions more. All right, so you should be able to see my screen now.
No, I can't yet.
Not yet.
No, okay. Now it's loaded.
Still explain. Now it's loaded. Okay. So if you can remember, there was a topic like 2 weeks ago on the discussion board about the steep learning curve of Orchard. Now to overcome part of this steep learning curve, or rather to enable you to enter developing for Orchard more easily, what I created is the following. This is Orchard abstractions or abstractions with 2 features: quick parts and quick widgets. Now it does the following. Here we see widgets, for example, and we will see nothing special. It's a currency converter widget. You give it 2 currencies and it converts between them, and this is what it displays. There's also a Facebook-like button part, what displays just a like button, and how it works is it's currently attached to the HTML widget. It just displays on the admin and enable checkbox, and that's it. So quite simple functionality, but as you can see, both of these things, both of these parts, display something on the admin side, they display something on the front end, and currency converter is also a widget, while the like button is just a part that can be attached to anything, where currently it is attached to a widget. Now, I've created, well, let's say it's a framework that enables you to implement this very easily. So the implementation for the like button is as following. This is the part, so it just has a virtual property for storing the state, the enabled state.
Dynamic proxy?
And it has, sorry?
Dynamic proxies?
Yeah, it's a good guess. It uses dynamic proxies to generate the storage.
That's nicer.
And there's only the editor template for that. So it's exactly like any editor template. And it also has a display template. And this is also exactly like the display template for anything else. The currency converter is a bit different, or a bit more complicated, because this like button part, as you can see, derives from quick part. this is the constraint. So if it derives from quick part, it enables you to have this very simple part development. So you don't have to deal with storage, with migration to make it attachable. There is no placement because there is a placement by default that you can, by the way, of course, alter through a placement.info file, but you don't have to do that. You don't have to write a driver, whatever. So it's just that. For widgets, you have to derive from quick widget part. It's pretty similar to quick part. It also makes it attachable, whatever. But it also creates a corresponding widget. So if you have a currency converter part, it will create a currency converter widget content type and attach this part to it. Also, storage is implemented automatically for the properties. And since this currency converter widget is a bit more complicated because it has some logic corresponding to it. Actually, it queries a web service to fetch this data. It needs something else too, and for that, there is this is what you have to do to implement some logic. You have to implement this iQuickPart logic interface. This is a very simple interface. It corresponds to your quick part. There's only one method you have to implement to generate the key value pairs that will be then fed to the dynamic model of the display shape. So if we go back here, this currency converter part logic is, well, it corresponds to currency converter part, and it computes everything that's needed to show the exchange rate. So it returns just one key value pair, the exchange rate, but contains the actual exchange rate that comes from Yahoo Finance. And now this will be then fed to the dynamic model of the display shape, as I've mentioned. So this exchange rate property will be available in the display template. So here it is. So this enables you to have a bit more complicated part development, but still you don't have to care about anything else. Now, if you want to convert all this into some hardcore part, like having even records for that and placement and drivers and everything, you can do that. You can gradually extend everything you have already written and modify it a bit. So, for example, you wouldn't have the logic in this interface implementation, but you would copy paste this to your driver. But you have the base, and you don't have to write a lot of things to have such basic implementations. You don't have to know about many concepts, and you don't have to understand many concepts. So this is it. The implementation details are in lombik.abstractions, but you can take a look at it itself if you are interested. But the point here is that if you want to start developing with Orchard, and most possibly you want to start developing a content part or a widget, you can do it very easily, much more easily than how it is done today. Of course, without all the customization, but that's the point, to give you a simple frame. So what do you think?
Sebastian likes it.
I'm delighted.
Do you have a, well, maybe not, the attribute which will do it at the property level? So let's say we could use just an attribute to wire a property to the storage. See what I mean?
So not to have virtual properties?
Yes, instead of inheriting from quick widget part, from content part, but be also able to use an attribute on the property itself.
I haven't thought about that because it was, so I thought this was the most straightforward one, but interesting.
Well, it's complementary. I mean, you can use quick widget part, but if you don't want to use quick widget part and you want to use a content part and just set a property to be stored into the info set, you say?
Oh, so for any part?
Yeah.
You mean? Oh, yeah. Yeah. Instead of writing stories.
That should not be that hard to do because you did the hardest part already.
Yeah, thanks. I will take a look at that.
And but I like the idea. It looks cool. There is a risk, which is that people don't understand what happens behind. The advantage is that people don't have to understand what happens behind.
Yeah, exactly. So this doesn't save you from learning everything that's needed if you want to do something more complicated than this, but it saves you the pain of having to learn everything just for starting.
Yeah, to create a simple one, for instance. Yeah. Okay, we'll look into that. Interesting.
Yeah, I don't quite understand quick part logic.
It's a driver.
Yeah, exactly. Why not? Why are we not using drivers? I mean,
is it splitting the I display logic or I edit logic or I don't know?
There's currently just display logic, nothing else. So no logic for edit. There could be a separate method for edit, but I didn't think that this is needed for first. So there is just display logic.
So why not use drivers?
Yeah, so the whole point is yet you don't have to write drivers. You can, so you still can write drivers for such parts too.
Well,
but
big deal. You don't have to write a driver, but you have to write an quick part logic implementation. How is it better?
Yeah, because you don't have to write a driver if you don't need logic. Then, if you need logic, you just need to implement a very simple method instead of also knowing about shapes and about drivers first of all.
Well, but Zoltan, in this case, a quick part logic implementation, isn't that similar or almost exactly the same as a driver? But instead of returning a shape, you're returning a dictionary. But
yeah, I don't see how it's better.
So the logic you would write there is exactly the logic that you would write in the display method of a driver. Mm-hmm. But in the driver you have to write everything.
So implement a driver with just the display method.
Yeah, because the driver can be empty. You don't need to implement all the methods.
Yeah.
You can implement a driver with just display methods.
Yeah, or you could create a implementation of a driver that you derive from that will have all the common stuff already there.
Yeah, and it's less alien, it's more... Yeah, introducing a new entity seems really wrong because it's doing exactly the same thing while it's doing a subset of what the driver is doing. It doesn't feel right, but big kudos on the automatic properties. This is great. I really like that.
Great.
That could be a value in the interfaces if maybe we didn't see that, but if it simplifies a lot the development of the driver itself, like the method, like you don't have to return a content shape result or something like that. You see what I mean?
Yeah,
or you don't have to care about prefixes, you don't have to care about templates, you just...
Yeah, exactly. So you don't have to care about anything else, just the logic.
Does it actually replace the display method of the driver, or does it replace the lambda that is inside of the shape result?
Oh, okay.
Show us the code. Show us the code because that's important.
It's partially what would be in the lambda. So that's the logic to compute the values if you have any to add to the display shape.
You see, so you don't have to care about the key of the placement. You don't have to care of the type of the shape. You don't have to care.
Is there a way somehow that we could fit that onto driver?
I don't know.
You know, you still implement a driver, but you implement a method that's simpler than display, maybe. Where you don't have it, you don't have to care about you know, the lambda and the shape names and the placement and so on. Another concern here, it's not just that you're introducing a new concept that replaces one that we already have, even if it's simpler. The other concern is that if you have that new interface, what is the migration path when you need an actual driver? Do you need to rewrite all of that into a driver? If we enhanced a driver to be easier to use, I'm thinking maybe that would be that would bring a better migration path when you need it.
Well, yeah, if you want to migrate to a real driver, you have to copy this and rewrite these context calls or
calls, yeah.
Copying to shape calls.
This is useless. Why don't you pass the shape and?
Yeah, context.
It's just. So here is a way to hide the shape, to access properties by name and by strings instead. But let's say the context is actually the shape.
Yeah, I don't see a dictionary of string object being that much easier to use than the shape. Actually, I think it's harder to use.
Pass a dynamic and tell them it's a dynamic, and that's not you. Yeah.
Yeah, and actually you can use shape as a dictionary.
Yeah, I think that's what it does. Yeah.
Yeah, it is possible. I've tested today.
Yeah. So here actually the shape could be could be passed instead of returning something.
Maybe.
So that's possible. Yeah.
Yeah, and you know that compute display parameters could totally be a new method on driver, and you could have a default implementation of display that makes use of that.
The issue with that is that if you have display and compute display parameter, what do you do?
Display wins.
Yeah, but how do you know there's something in compute display parameters? With this logic is that there is a default there is a new kind of driver which inherits from driver, which will look for implementation of I quick part logic. That's what I assume is done. And this way uses all the I quick part logic.
Okay, that works.
That's a different way of doing that. But maybe also the naming is not really orchardy and
yeah.
And that's why
I'm not satisfied that maybe that either, but I couldn't
have to change the core either. So yeah, maybe we can think about that and find work on this. That's interesting.
Yeah.
The same way that the work you did on the part itself makes it very simple to guess and to imagine. Yeah. So for instance, instead of going it I quick part or quick part, I don't know what, on your content part, you could call it, for instance, I don't know, info set content part. And just by saying it's not a content part, it's an info set content part, all my properties are in the info set. So just the idea. I'm not sure info set content part is a good name, but just still calling it content part, but that automatically baked on the or yeah.
Implementation details on the.
Or maybe the default implementation is that if you inherit from content part, and it's just a property get setter with virtual, we know it's baked in the info set.
Yeah.
And that's it.
Exactly. You don't have to add anything.
Based on a convention, okay. Because the virtual means something. It means, hey, you can override myself.
Yeah. Why? What other reason would it have to be virtual except a bad copy and paste?
Yep. So this and yeah, maybe same thing for I don't know, a driver. Yeah, if you override compute display parameter, or if you override something like that, then use that instead of the display. But if you don't use display, I don't know. To be discussed, to be continued. We'll spend hours.
Okay.
Thanks. Any other demo? Announcement? New website? Question? Non-technical question? Nobody. Yep. Okay. Live in Orchard. Oh, new websites. Okay, so I will add this one as new website. I have it actually in my list. The new websites. Let me share my screen. I will close that. This. Oh. Okay, then we won't talk about this thing if you can. Okay, I will show 2 other websites then. Blah, 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 blah. Sharing. Desktop. This. Benedek, you just ping me. You.
Okay, it's loaded.
So mb3m.fr French website. CRM fast works. Wexperandyou.com. Oh, another French. It's about French websites this week. Interesting. Another one. So maybe Antoine will say they are very old. So Antoine didn't say anything about that. Favicon fail. Yeah, that's a Favicon fail. It's a nice Favicon actually. But yeah, it could be updated to a new one. Don't know them. So if Antoine doesn't know those French websites, nobody knows them. Another one, nice. And I understand what is written. That's nice. For once, all those English websites talking English. Okay, Triage, quick one. Issues. You see, active, all I, no more. Okay, so now proposed all for unassigned. Does anyone have to say something? Okay. We were about to talk about this one. We try to upload Azure installation. Server, right, except that we could not see images. Media instead of media. No. It's not case sensitive, is it? Oh, this is an external image. Don't we have images somewhere? Like this one. Okay. Yeah. Media. Boom. Oh, I didn't know that. So the blob storage is case sensitive. Interesting. Yes, it's ready. So, which means Azure Media Storage, media instead of media URL. Try to upload to try to right exhibit. Okay, I have to check why it's generating a media with an uppercase and not. But the question is, how do you render the URL? Because yeah, okay. Check that. In some media item doesn't work in IE8. There is a fix going on, but I think cancel, yes, because he needs to work on it. Oh, is it still open? It's proposed. Let's open it. Query out. That's it. Import. Is it the one that you fixed, Stanley? Are you still here?
Yeah, I'm here. I'm reading the ticket.
Query layout within projection widget, not set on import. Okay, I will open it. We'll see. Layout property. Okay, fix. I will open it. Import export again. Same thing. But this one, okay.
I don't understand because I thought -1 is a valid selection.
We'll see.
I think it should be 0.
Yeah, bug to be fixed. Yes, maybe.
I logged this ages ago. So it sounds like a regression. Because this did get fixed.
Regression.
The -1 thing. That did get fixed. I think it got fixed by...
Check something. This has nothing to do with query part driver, state, no, just in state. Sort criterion, layout, no, state. No, that's nothing to do with the widget part. We'll see. It's active. Okay, I tried to, but that's weird because other users. I agree. We all agree. Nick also agrees.
I very much agree.
I very much agree. Okay, I think it's already fixed, but I will check that. We fix it in 1.7x. Contact for module. Bing. Mr. Bing, if you watch us, hi. Steve.
Is that really true? I thought that only happens if you don't have an ID.
Trust him. He showed me the issue.
Okay.
Mr. Bing works at Microsoft. No, Bing is the first name. So Bing works at Microsoft. That's funny. Bing works at Microsoft. Just doing it because it's here. So that's funny. If he was here, that will not be funny. Insulting, that would be. Import will create. Yeah. Yes, he tried it. So if in the export file you replace draft by published, there is no duplicate. If you import as draft, there is duplicate. Huh? No, but I think, yeah, so, okay. What did you say, Nick?
I don't remember.
Oh, 20 seconds ago, you said something. I don't remember.
Oh, yeah, I thought you only end up with duplicate content when the ID is not when you haven't got a ID specified. So technically, it's not duplicated content, but it kind of is.
Yeah, actually, I think that even if you have if the content has an ID, if it's draft, it should import as a draft. So I understand why it's duplicating the content, because it's creating. It's like, oh, I want to add a draft. Unless there is a version property, and when you import a draft and the version, it should say, no, I want to update this version number. Okay, let me add a note. Specified this, then this could okay, I will check that. Field separated, that might be yeah, I have to check that. We need to talk, Sipke.
What's that?
No, we need to talk.
So, talk?
We need to find a solution.
Okay.
Why is it a duplicate?
Because it's open already on this and this.
No, these are two separate issues about the logging.
Being able to tell which tenant this background task is running for.
But you can. Can you use the shell settings like Zoltan mentioned?
Yeah, so I actually don't understand.
Oh, I thought it was about the log. Okay, it's not about the log. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, I thought it was about the log.
No.
Been reminded here. So what is the issue?
The issue is he's running a background task and he doesn't know how to tell which tenant the background task is.
You just inject the shell settings.
Well, that's what Zoltan read.
So it's not an issue?
No, so close it.
Not an issue.
Sebastian, I'm wondering about the issue a couple of issues ago about the option is required failed for enumeration field. Isn't that enumeration field a core part of orchard.fields?
Yes.
Because if I read that issue, it's about an issue with that field, not adhering to its an option is required. But
so what are you talking about?
I'll paste the link.
You pasted a link. This one. Okay. I installed contact form module. Okay, maybe I should have read further. That's what. But I installed contact form module. Okay, okay, and created my custom contact called contactors form. But so maybe he didn't install the contact form module. He installed the custom form module.
I think so, yeah. And he created a custom content type. So and then he attached that enumeration field, and that setting is not working. Apparently.
So, okay. I want to close, but not for the same reason. I don't know if I want to close it. So the idea is that those fields that we made them for the admin.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So in theory, we will not have to support them on the front end. But this module that we made it for being able to reuse a content type on the front end.
Right.
So for some complex fields, we usually say use a dedicated field which works on the front end.
Mm.
This one is so.
But it should also work on the back end. Maybe this also is an issue when you attach it to your content type and you edit it from the back end, and the validation still fails, or the validation doesn't work.
Okay. So just for this one. Good night. Just 1 p.m. Have a good nap. Okay, thank you, Piedon, for asking him to check if it was an issue. So last one for today, okay? Add option in workflow email activity to send to all members of a specified role. Interesting, but let me see. No. So maybe. So no, for two reasons. First, it can be done as a separate feature because it will make email have a dependency on a role. And we could have a feature called send email to everyone in a role.
Also, in the new email activity,
and the second reason is that there is a new module. And do a token? Oh, we could do a token. Oh, also, but no, yeah, that will be hard. No. A token containing all the email addresses of someone in all. That's kind of a nice token. But yeah, let's do another activity just for that. And two reasons not to do that.
Yeah.
What?
An option would be to have this is something I was thinking about, tokens, list tokens. Then you could, for example, render a comma separated list of some values. So you could have roles and maybe other things, emails, whatever. Never mind.
By the way, when I think about it, if you could have the messaging module, and more specifically the email activities inside the email module, so that it's just an upgrade. So the messaging module is just, the new messaging module is just the current messaging module, but an update. And same thing for the email module. The email activity will be in the email module, the current one, as an update. So it's just about people who have already some email and messaging in place. It's just about updating to the new system and it will work. You see? If you don't see how to do that, I can help you. And that will be it for today. Any other last comment, question?
Could you hang on for like 2 minutes? I need to ask you one thing, but I need to share the screen.
So it won't take 2 minutes. Can it be done in 45 minutes?
No, 2 minutes. Just 2 minutes, because I found a.
Okay, Skype me right after.
Okay, cool.
See you guys. Thank you.
See ya. Bye.
Bye, guys.
Bye bye.
Bye, everyone.